Isaiah had been living on the streets for years, surviving day by day with nothing but his instincts and a strong sense of right and wrong. One night, he hears desperate cries coming from a nearby alley and finds a group of bullies cornering a young boy. Without hesitation, Isaiah steps in, unaware that this single act of bravery will unravel a shocking turn of events, one that could change everything. In a bustling park, Isaiah, a homeless black man, sat quietly on a worn bench, seeking solace from the chaotic world around him. The laughter of children echoed through the air, accompanied by the distant barking of dogs and the gentle rustling of leaves in the breeze. For a fleeting moment, Isaiah felt the weight of his troubles lift, allowing him to escape into the vibrant life of the park. But this peace was shattered when a piercing cry reached his ears. He turned to see a small white boy, perhaps 7 or 8 years old, surrounded by a gang of rough-looking kids. The boy's face drained of color, his eyes wide with terror. As he clutched his backpack like a lifeline, "Please stop," the boy whimpered, his voice barely audible over the bully's taunts. Isaiah's heart raced, anger surging within him as he recognized the all-too-familiar signs of bullying. He had been in the boy's shoes before, ridiculed and powerless. But this time, he couldn't just stand by. The leader of the group, a tall boy named Jason with a sneer etched across his face, shoved the smaller boy to the ground. A rush of determination coursed through Isaiah's veins. "Think you're better than us because your dad has money?" Jason jeered, kicking dirt into the boy's face while the others laughed, their cruelty echoing in the air. Without a second thought, Isaiah stood up from the bench. His worn coat flapped in the breeze, each step toward the group heavy yet resolute. "Hey," he called out, his voice firm but calm. The bullies paused, their amusement faltering as they turned to face him. Jason squinted, irritation flashing across his features. "What do you want, old man?" He sneered, trying to mask his surprise. "Leave him alone," Isaiah said unwaveringly, locking eyes with the boys and daring them to challenge him. "And who's going to make us?" Another bully taunted, stepping forward. But something in Isaiah's steady gaze made them hesitate. A tense silence fell over the group, and in that moment, Jason seemed to realize this wasn't a fight worth picking. "Come on, let's go," he muttered, shoving his hands into his pockets. The others reluctantly followed, their laughter fading into the distance. Isaiah watched them go, his muscles still tense, before turning his attention to the boy on the ground. "You all right, kid?" he asked softly, kneeling beside him. The boy looked up, tears brimming in his eyes. "I didn't know what to do," he stammered, trembling. "You don't need to thank me," Isaiah replied, brushing dirt off the boy's shoulder. "Those kids are just bullies. They're not as tough as they act." The boy nodded, wiping his eyes with the back of his hand. "I'm Liam," he introduced himself, his voice shaky. "I'm Isaiah," he replied, offering a warm smile. "You shouldn't be out here alone. Where are your folks?" "My dad is supposed to pick me up," Liam said, glancing nervously around the park, still wary of the bully's return. Isaiah looked around, noticing for the first time the high-end sneakers and expensive backpack Liam was wearing. This kid clearly came from a world far removed from his own. But in that moment, it didn't matter. "How about I wait with you until he gets here?" Isaiah offered. Liam's eyes lit up with relief. "Really?" "Yeah, of course," Isaiah said, leading him over to the bench where he'd been sitting. They sat down together, the tension in the air slowly dissipating. They didn't talk much after that, but the silence felt comfortable. Isaiah kept an eye on the park entrance, half expecting trouble to find them again. Minutes passed, and finally, a sleek black car pulled up at the park's edge. Liam's face brightened, and he jumped to his feet. "That's him," Liam exclaimed, racing toward the car. Isaiah stood as well, watching as a tall man in a sharp suit stepped out. His demeanor was stern but softened when he spotted his son. "Liam, are you okay? What happened?" The man asked, kneeling to hug him. "Dad, this is Isaiah," Liam sighed, pointing back at Isaiah. "He helped me when those kids were picking on me." The father, Robert, stood up and looked at Isaiah with a mix of gratitude and wariness. "Thank you for helping my son," he said, his tone polite but distant. "Just glad he's all right," Isaiah replied, feeling the weight of Robert's scrutiny. Liam, still smiling, turned to his father. "Can he come with us? He's really nice." Robert hesitated, glancing at Isaiah before shaking his head gently. "We need to get going, Liam. Say goodbye." "Bye, Isaiah. Thank you." Liam waved, his voice filled with sincerity. Isaiah returned the gesture, a rare smile breaking through as he watched them drive off. As the car faded into the distance, Isaiah let out a long breath. For a brief moment, he had made a difference, but even as he returned to his usual spot, under the tree, the echoes of his own past lingered in the back of his mind. The struggles would continue, but today felt like a small victory. A reminder that he could still do some good in the world. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the park, Isaiah leaned back against the rough bark of the oak tree. He closed his eyes, allowing the sounds of the evening to wash over him. The laughter of children had faded into soft conversations among parents, and the world was settling down for the night. For the first time in a while, he felt a glimmer of hope. But that hope was quickly overshadowed by memories of his past, times when he had been just like Liam, vulnerable and in need of protection. Isaiah had once been a young boy with dreams and aspirations, but life had dealt him harsh cards. The harsh realities of homelessness weighed heavily on him. Still, the brief encounter with Liam sparked something Isaiah thought he had long lost, a sense of purpose. The following day, as Isaiah wandered the park, he couldn't shake the feeling of unease. The image of Liam's frightened face haunted him, and he found himself drawn back to the spot where they had met. It wasn't just the memory of the bullying that lingered. It was the connection he had felt with the boy. It made him realize that no matter how hard life had been, there was still room for kindness and compassion. Days turned into weeks, and Isaiah began to notice changes in the park. More families were visiting, and the sense of community that had once felt distant started to return. Each day, he would arrive early, claiming his spot on the bench. He would watch as parents played with their children, laughing and enjoying the simple pleasures of life. But no one seemed to notice him. He was just another figure in the background. One afternoon, while Isaiah was lost in thought, he heard a familiar voice call out to him. It was Liam, running toward him, his face lit with excitement. "Isaiah, you won't believe what happened." Isaiah's heart warmed at the sight of the boy. "What's got you so fired up, kid?" he asked, smiling as Liam skidded to a halt in front of him. "My dad is starting a charity to help kids who are bullied, and he said I can help." Liam exclaimed, practically bouncing on his feet. Isaiah's eyebrows raised in surprise. "That sounds amazing, Liam. What's it called?" "It's going to be called Stand Strong," Liam beamed. "We want to help kids like me and others who are picked on. My dad wants to make sure no one feels alone like I did." Isaiah felt a swell of pride for the boy. "You're a brave kid for wanting to do that. You know, helping others can change lives." Liam's face turned serious for a moment. "Do you think you could help us? You know what it's like out there." Isaiah hesitated, feeling the weight of his past settle in. "I'm not sure if I'm the right person for that, Liam," he replied slowly. "Of course you are." Liam insisted. "You helped me when I needed it. You're brave, Isaiah, just like you were that day." The boy's unwavering faith in him struck a deep chord within Isaiah. "All right, kid. I'll do what I can," he said, feeling a sense of determination rise within him. Liam jumped up and down, his joy infectious. "Yes, this is going to be awesome." As they made plans for the charity, Isaiah found himself reconnecting with a purpose he thought he had lost. The memories of his struggles became a source of strength, fueling his desire to give back. He shared stories of his past, hoping to inspire other kids to stand up against bullying and racism. Meanwhile, Robert worked hard to organize the charity's first event, ensuring its success. He had noticed a change in Liam since he had met Isaiah. He couldn't help but feel grateful for the man who had stepped in to help his son. As Liam's enthusiasm grew, so did Robert's determination to make a difference. However, Isaiah was still navigating the complexities of his own life. Despite the newfound hope, financial pressures continued to loom over him like a dark cloud. Each day was a struggle to find food and shelter, and the weight of his past mistakes lingered in his mind. The park became a sanctuary, but it was also a constant reminder of the challenges he faced. One evening, as Isaiah prepared to leave, he found a crumpled piece of paper on the ground. He picked it up and unfolded it, revealing a handwritten note that read, "You are not alone. There is always hope." The message struck a chord deep within him. Maybe he could turn his life around after all. As the sun set over the park, Isaiah felt a surge of determination. He was no longer just a bystander in his own life. He was ready to take action and make a difference, not just for Liam but for himself as well. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of activity as Isaiah became more involved with Liam's charity, Stand Strong. The organization aimed to raise awareness about bullying and provide support to children facing discrimination. Isaiah's past experiences fueled his passion, allowing him to connect with the mission on a profound level. Liam's father, Robert, was instrumental in organizing community events. He reached out to local schools, inviting students and parents to participate. The response was overwhelming, with many families eager to join the cause. Together, they planned an inaugural event, a fun run in the park where participants would wear T-shirts emblazoned with messages of solidarity and strength. As the day approached, Isaiah found himself working alongside Robert, Liam, and volunteers from the community. He felt a sense of belonging he hadn't experienced in years. With each planning session, he shared his story, emphasizing the importance of empathy and standing up against bullying. His raw honesty resonated with the group, inspiring them to push forward. However, the shadows of Isaiah's past still loomed over him. Despite his determination to be a part of this positive change, he couldn't shake off the feeling of inadequacy that came with his circumstances. Doubts crept in, whispering that he didn't belong in this world of hope and community. On the day of the event, the park transformed into a vibrant festival. Colorful banners fluttered in the breeze, and laughter filled the air as families gathered to support the cause. As participants began to arrive, Liam's excitement was palpable. He wore a bright yellow T-shirt with the charity's logo, bouncing with enthusiasm as he greeted friends and strangers alike. Isaiah helped set up the registration table, handing out T-shirts and bib numbers. Each smile he received, each thank you from parents and children, chipped away at the heaviness in his heart. But just as the event began to unfold, the atmosphere shifted. A group of boys from the neighborhood, led by Jason, approached, their faces twisted in disdain. "What are you doing here, homeless man?" Jason sneered, glancing at the colorful decorations and laughing as he mocked Isaiah's presence. "You think you belong with these kids? You're just a loser." The laughter of the boys sliced through the joy of the day, and Isaiah felt the weight of their words settle in his chest. His resolve wavered, but before he could respond, Liam stepped forward, his small stature belying the courage within. "Leave him alone. Isaiah's helping kids like me." Jason's expression shifted from amusement to confusion, caught off guard by Liam's defiance. "Oh, please," he scoffed. What could he possibly know about being a hero? Isaiah felt a surge of pride for Liam, who stood his ground against the bullies. "You don't know what he's been through," Liam shouted. "He's a good person. You're the Ones who should be ashamed. Jason's face reddened, but before he could retaliate, Robert stepped in, his voice calm yet authoritative. Enough, he said, addressing the bullies. This is a day for celebrating strength and kindness. If you can't respect that, you don't belong here. The tension hung heavy in the air, but Jason hesitated. After exchanging uncertain glances with his friends, he muttered, "Whatever," before turning on his heel. Leading the group away, Isaiah felt the eyes of the crowd on him, uncertainty mixed with admiration. He met Liam's gaze, and in that moment, a new sense of strength blossomed within him. "Thank you, Liam," Isaiah said softly, kneeling to meet the boy's eyes. "You stood up for me. That takes a lot of courage." Liam beamed, the pride shining through. "You're my friend, Isaiah. Friends look out for each other." As the event continued, Isaiah felt the shadows of his past begin to lift. He wasn't just a homeless man. He was part of something bigger. With each person he spoke to, each child he encouraged, he was not only helping others, but also healing himself. By the end of the day, the run had been a tremendous success, raising funds and awareness for the charity. As the sun began to set, casting golden hues across the park, Robert gathered everyone for a closing speech. "I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today," Robert announced, his voice resonating with sincerity. "Together, we're making a difference. And a special thanks to Isaiah, who reminds us all that it's never too late to be a hero in someone's life." Isaiah felt a wave of gratitude wash over him. He had found not only a community, but also a renewed sense of purpose. The laughter of children and the camaraderie of families filled him with warmth, igniting a flicker of hope within Dot as the event came to a close. Liam ran up to Isaiah, a bright smile on his face. "Can we do this again, Isaiah? I want to help." "More kids," Isaiah nodded, his heart swelling with pride. "Absolutely, Liam. Together, we can make sure that no one feels alone." In that moment, Isaiah realized that he was no longer just fighting against his past. He was building a future one filled with connection, hope, and the promise of change. As the weeks turned into months, Isaiah immersed himself in the work with Stand Strong. The charity's initiatives grew, and so did his relationship with Liam and Robert. They became a family of sorts, united by their commitment to combat bullying and foster empathy in their community. Isaiah found himself invited to local schools to share his story, his journey from the depths of homelessness to finding purpose in helping others. With every story he told, he felt a bit more of his past wounds heal. The kids listened intently, their eyes wide with a mixture of horror and admiration. He spoke about resilience, the importance of standing up against prejudice, and the strength found in unity. But despite the progress he was making, shadows from his past occasionally threatened to creep back in. One afternoon, while preparing for a school assembly, Isaiah spotted a familiar face in the audience. Mark, an old friend from his troubled past. Mark's presence sent a chill down his spine. They had once been inseparable, but the paths they took had diverged drastically. Where Isaiah had fallen into addiction and despair, Mark had risen through the ranks, gaining success but losing his way in the process. As Isaiah began his speech, he fought to keep his composure. His voice wavered slightly as he recounted his experiences, and he could feel Mark's eyes burning into him, filled with judgment and derision. But then he looked at the children, their innocent faces giving him strength. "Every one of us faces challenges," Isaiah said, his voice growing stronger. "But it's how we respond that defines us. It's never too late to change your life for the better, to choose kindness over cruelty." After the assembly, as the students filed out, Mark approached Isaiah, his expression a mix of disbelief and contempt. "I never thought I'd see you like this," he said, a sneer creeping onto his lips. "Playing the hero when you were once nothing. But a mess. What's next? Writing a book about your failures?" Isaiah took a deep breath, choosing not to rise to the bait. "I've learned that every failure can be a stepping stone if you let it be," he replied, meeting Mark's gaze steadily. "You should try it sometime." Mark scoffed, shaking his head as he walked away. "You're still just a homeless man trying to fit in," he called over his shoulder. The comment stung, but Isaiah refused to let it linger. He knew his worth was not defined by his past or by others' perceptions. The progress he had made and the lives he was touching were what truly mattered. As the charity continued to grow, so did the community's response. Liam's enthusiasm remained unwavering, and his bond with Isaiah grew even stronger. They spent weekends organizing events, raising awareness, and most importantly, connecting with kids who needed support. One day, while preparing for a fundraising gala, Isaiah noticed Liam sitting quietly, his brow furrowed in thought. He approached. The boy, kneeling down to meet his eyes. "What's on your mind, champ?" Isaiah asked. Liam sighed, hesitating for a moment before speaking. "I wish everyone could see that bullying hurts. It feels like people only care when it's happening." To them, Isaiah nodded, understanding the weight of Liam's words. "You're right. Change starts with us, sharing our stories, showing empathy, and standing up for one another. It's not easy, but together we can make a difference." Liam's expression brightened. "You're always so positive, Isaiah. I want to be like you when I grow up." Isaiah chuckled softly, his heart swelling with pride. "You already are, kid. Just keep being you, brave, kind, and willing to stand up for others." As the day of the gala approached, excitement filled the air. Robert had pulled out all the stops to ensure it would be a memorable night. They secured a local venue, decorated with vibrant banners promoting Stand Strong, and invited community leaders and families to attend. On the night of the gala, Isaiah stood in front of the mirror, adjusting his shirt. He was nervous but also excited. This was not just a fundraiser. It was a celebration of everything they had achieved together. Arriving at the venue, Isaiah was greeted by an atmosphere filled with laughter, music, and chatter. Families mingled, and children ran around, their joy palpable. As Robert took the stage to welcome everyone, Isaiah felt a surge of gratitude for the community that had embraced him. "Tonight, we come together to support our mission," Robert announced, his voice ringing through the room. "We're here to ensure every child feels safe, valued, and heard. Together, we can create a world where kindness triumphs over cruelty." Isaiah's heart swelled with pride. He knew this was just the beginning of their journey. The battles against bullying and racism were ongoing, but with every step they took, they were making a real difference. As the night unfolded, Isaiah mingled with guests, sharing stories of resilience and hope. He could see the appreciation in their eyes, the understanding of the struggles he and others had faced. Each conversation reinforced the idea that they were all connected, part of a larger narrative that transcended individual experiences. In the midst of the celebration, Liam approached Isaiah, holding a small box wrapped in colorful paper. "This is for you," he said, his eyes sparkling with excitement. Isaiah knelt down, surprised. "For me? What is it?" "Open it," Liam urged, his anticipation infectious. Isaiah carefully unwrapped the box, revealing a handmade bracelet. It was simple but adorned with vibrant beads, each representing a value. "Strength, courage, kindness, and friendship. I made it for you to remind you that you're a hero to me," Liam said. Beaming. Tears pricked Isaiah's eyes as he slipped the bracelet onto his wrist. "Thank you, Liam. This means more to me than you know." As the evening came to a close, Isaiah felt a sense of belonging he had longed for. He was no longer just a homeless man. He was part of a community that valued him, and he was determined to keep fighting for that change. The success of the gala was just the beginning. With renewed energy and purpose, Isaiah threw himself into the work with Stand Strong. He organized workshops for children, teaching them about empathy, kindness, and the importance of standing up against bullying. Each session was filled with laughter, tears, and revelations as kids shared their own experiences and learned to support one another. Liam often joined him, embodying the spirit of the charity with his infectious enthusiasm. Together, they created a safe space where children felt heard and empowered. Isaiah marveled at how far they had come, not just in building the charity, but in their friendship, which had blossomed into a deep bond. But as the charity grew, so did the challenges. One afternoon, while reviewing feedback from the workshops, Isaiah noticed a troubling trend. Several children reported continued bullying despite the efforts being made. The stories echoed familiar pain, revealing a reality Isaiah knew all too well. Feeling a sense of urgency, Isaiah called for a meeting with Robert and Liam. They gathered at a local cafe, where the aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled the air, mingling with the sound of animated chatter. "We need to address this," Isaiah said, concern etched on his face. "If we want to make a real difference, we can't just hold workshops. We need to get into the schools, engage directly with the kids, and tackle the issues head on." Robert nodded, rubbing his chin thoughtfully. "I agree. It's crucial we take action before it escalates further. But how do we reach out effectively?" Liam, who had been listening intently, spoke up, his voice steady. "What if we organized a series of interactive assemblies? We can invite students to share their stories, and we can show them how to stand up against bullying together." Isaiah's heart swelled with pride at Liam's suggestion. "That's a brilliant idea. We can make it a fun and engaging experience. Games, storytelling, and maybe even invite some local leaders to share their experiences too." With the plan in place, they set to work organizing the assemblies. The response from local schools was overwhelmingly positive. Students were eager to participate and share their stories. As they prepared for the first assembly, Isaiah felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. This was their chance to reach more kids, to instill hope and resilience in those who felt powerless. He knew the stakes were high, but the opportunity to create change was within their grasp. On the day of the assembly, the school gymnasium buzzed with energy. Students filed in, chattering excitedly as they took their seats. The walls were adorned with colorful banners, and the atmosphere was electric with anticipation. Isaiah stood backstage, pacing slightly as he waited for the signal to step onto the stage. "You've got this," Robert said, giving him an encouraging nod. "Just be yourself." When it was time, Isaiah took a deep breath and stepped into the spotlight. The room fell silent as he walked to the center, the eyes of hundreds of students focused on him. He could feel the weight of their expectations, but he knew this was his moment. "Hello, everyone. I'm Isaiah, and I'm here to talk about something that affects all of us: bullying and the importance of kindness," he began, his voice steady and clear. "I've been where some of you are now. I know what it's like to feel alone and powerless. But I'm here to tell you that you can change your story." As he spoke, Isaiah shared his journey, weaving in personal anecdotes that resonated with the audience. He encouraged the students to be brave, to stand up for one another, and to create a community where everyone felt valued. Liam took the stage next, sharing his own experiences with bullying and how Isaiah had helped him. "It's not just about fighting back," he said, his voice strong and confident. "It's about supporting each other and understanding that everyone has their own battles." The assembly was a resounding success. Students laughed, cried, and connected with one another. By the end, Isaiah could see the change in the room, the flicker of hope and determination igniting within their young hearts. But as they left the gymnasium, Isaiah spotted Jason lingering outside, flanked by his friends. The sneer returned, and Isaiah's heart sank. He felt a sense of dread wash over him, unsure of how Jason would react to their message. "Nice speech, homeless man," Jason called out, his tone dripping with sarcasm. "You think you can change anything? You're still just a nobody." Isaiah's heart raced, but he refused to let Jason's words affect him. Instead, he stepped forward, meeting Jason's gaze with unwavering strength. It doesn't matter where I come from. What matters is the message we spread. Kindness over cruelty, empathy over hate. Jason's expression flickered, uncertainty flashing in his eyes. Whatever, he muttered, turning to leave, his bravado faltering in the face of Isaiah's resolve. Isaiah felt a rush of relief as Jason walked away, but the encounter weighed heavily on his mind. He knew that change wouldn't come easily, especially not in the face of ingrained prejudice and bullying. Later that evening, as he walked home, Isaiah reflected on the day. It was a small victory, but victories were still victories. He realized he couldn't control what others thought or did, but he could continue to make a difference one child at a time. The following weeks were filled with more assemblies and workshops. Isaiah remained tireless in his efforts, fueled by the passion to create a better world for kids like Liam. However, with each success came an underlying worry about whether their message was truly reaching those who needed it most. As they prepared for another event, Isaiah couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the verge of something significant, something that could change not just their community, but the very narrative surrounding bullying and racism. As the seasons shifted, so did the momentum of Stand Strong. The charity's outreach expanded, with more schools signing up for assemblies and workshops. Isaiah became a recognizable figure in the community, an unexpected hero with a powerful message. His journey from homelessness to hope inspired others, creating a ripple effect that resonated through the hearts of families and children alike. One crisp autumn morning, Isaiah stood in front of a packed auditorium, ready to speak to a group of middle school students. The air was thick with anticipation, and as he looked out at the sea of faces, he felt a mix of excitement and nerves. This time, the stakes felt higher. He wanted to reach every single child. "Good morning, everyone," Isaiah began, his voice steady and inviting. "Today, I want to talk about something that affects us all: bullying, kindness, and the strength we all have inside us to make a difference." He shared stories from his past about pain, struggle, and ultimately, resilience. He spoke of Liam's bravery and how standing up against bullying had empowered not only the boy, but also others around him. As he spoke, he noticed a girl in the front row, her expression a mix of anger and hurt. She crossed her arms tightly, clearly skeptical. Isaiah paused, sensing her distress. "What's your name?" he asked gently. "Sophie," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "Sophie," he echoed, inviting her to share. "Have you ever faced bullying?" She nodded, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "Every day. It doesn't matter what I do, they just pick on me." Isaiah stepped closer, his heart aching for her. "I'm sorry to hear that. You're not alone in this. The first step is recognizing that you deserve to be treated with respect, just like everyone else." He continued, engaging Sophie directly, encouraging her to share her experiences. "What do you think we can do to change that? How can we support each other?" Sophie hesitated, but the room began to buzz with encouragement from her peers. "Maybe we can stand up for each other?" she suggested, her voice growing stronger. "Exactly." Isaiah beamed, and the room erupted in applause. "Together, we can create a supportive community where no one has to feel alone." The assembly concluded with an overwhelming sense of unity, and Isaiah left the stage feeling invigorated. As he walked back to the entrance, Liam raced up to him, excitement radiating from his small frame. "You were amazing, Isaiah. You really got through to Sophie," Liam exclaimed, his face glowing with pride. Isaiah chuckled, ruffling Liam's hair. "It takes all of us working together. You're a part of this too." Days turned into weeks, and the charity's impact was undeniable. Students were beginning to embrace kindness, with many stepping forward to share their stories and support one another. The community rallied around the cause, and Isaiah felt a renewed sense of purpose with every event. But as the momentum built, so did the challenges. One afternoon, as Isaiah was reviewing feedback from a recent workshop, he received an unexpected phone call from Robert. "Isaiah, we need to talk," Robert said, his tone serious. "There's been a complaint about your involvement in the schools. Some parents are upset about the messages we're promoting." Isaiah's stomach dropped. "What do you mean?" "They believe we're giving too much attention to issues of race and bullying, and they think it could disrupt their children's education," Robert explained, frustration evident in his voice. Isaiah felt the weight of the world on his shoulders. "But this is important. Kids need to understand empathy and acceptance. We're fighting against ignorance." "I know," Robert replied, his voice steady. "But we need to tread carefully. I want to protect what we've built here. We can't afford to lose support." Isaiah sighed, rubbing his temples in frustration. "I understand, but backing down feels wrong. We can't silence the voices of those who need us." "Let's meet with the concerned parents," Robert suggested. "Maybe we can find a middle ground." The meeting was set for later that week, and Isaiah felt a mix of dread and determination. He knew they had to stand firm in their mission. But he also wanted to avoid alienating the community that had embraced him. When the day arrived, the air in the school's conference room felt heavy with tension. Parents filled the seats, their expressions a mix of concern and skepticism. Isaiah sat at the table alongside Robert, ready to speak his truth. "Thank you all for coming," Robert began, addressing the room. "We're here to discuss the feedback we've received about our programs." Isaiah felt the eyes of the parents on him, filled with doubt and apprehension. He took a deep breath, determined to speak from his heart. "I understand your concerns," he said, his voice steady. "But I believe it's essential for our children to learn about empathy, kindness, and the realities of bullying. Ignoring these issues won't make them go away." A murmur rippled through the crowd, and Isaiah pressed on. "I've lived through bullying and discrimination. I know what it's like to feel powerless, but I also know that change is possible. We can't shield our kids from the world. Instead, we should equip them to navigate it with compassion." As he spoke, some parents began to nod, and a few exchanged glances. "If we can teach our kids to stand up against bullying, they can help create a safer, more inclusive environment for everyone," he concluded. One of the parents, Mrs. Thompson, raised her hand. "But what if it makes them uncomfortable?" "Isn't that a risk?" Isaiah responded, meeting her gaze. "Growth often comes from discomfort. We can't be afraid to have tough conversations. It's our responsibility to ensure that every child feels valued and safe." Slowly, the atmosphere shifted. Conversations blossomed among the parents as they began to engage with Isaiah's message. The doubts that had initially clouded the room began to dissipate, replaced by a sense of understanding. By the end of the meeting, the parents agreed to support Stand Strong, recognizing the importance of teaching their children about empathy and resilience. Isaiah felt a wave of relief wash over him. They had taken a step toward change, and he was grateful to Robert for his guidance. As they left the school, Robert turned to Isaiah, a genuine smile breaking through his earlier tension. "You did it, Isaiah. You stood your ground and made a difference." Isaiah smiled back, the burden of doubt lifting from his shoulders. "It's not just me, we're in this together." With the parents' support secured, Stand Strong continued to thrive, gaining momentum and expanding its reach. Isaiah felt invigorated by the positive change in the community, but he also understood that their work was far from overdone as the weather turned colder. They organized a winter event to raise funds for warm clothing and supplies for children in need. Isaiah dove into the preparations, and with Liam by his side, they mapped out a plan to engage the community. They reached out to local businesses for donations and enlisted volunteers to help with logistics. The buzz around the event grew, drawing families from all corners of the community, each eager to participate. As the day of the winter event approached, Isaiah found himself reflecting on how much had changed since he first stepped into the park. That fateful day. He had not only found a purpose, but also a family in Liam and Robert. They had become his support system, and the bond they shared grew deeper with each passing day. On the morning of the event, the park was transformed into a winter wonderland. Colorful decorations adorned the trees, and the smell of hot cocoa wafted through the air as families set up booths and gathered for activities. Isaiah stood at the entrance, greeting everyone with a warm smile, his heart swelling with gratitude. "Isaiah, over here," Liam called out, waving excitedly as he ran toward him, bundled in a thick winter coat. "We're ready to start." "Let's do this, buddy," Isaiah replied, feeling the same excitement bubbling within him. "Let's do it, Liam." As the event kicked off, the park filled with laughter and joy. Kids played games, families enjoyed warm treats, and everyone rallied around the cause. Isaiah made his rounds, sharing stories of resilience and hope, reminding everyone of the power of community. However, as the day went on, Isaiah noticed a familiar face lingering at the edge of the festivities. Jason, the same boy who had bullied Liam weeks earlier. The sight sent a pang of unease through him, but he refused to let it overshadow the joy of the day. Jason watched from a distance, his expression unreadable as he observed the cheerful scene. Isaiah felt a mix of concern and curiosity. Would Jason disrupt the event, or had he come to see the positive impact it had on the community? As the afternoon sun began to set, casting a warm glow across the park, Isaiah took a moment to step away from the crowd. He needed time to gather his thoughts. Leaning against a tree, he closed his eyes, letting the sounds of laughter and celebration wash over him. Suddenly, he heard footsteps approaching. He opened his eyes to find Jason standing there, his expression a mix of apprehension and defiance. "What do you want?" Isaiah asked, keeping his tone neutral. "I came to see what all the fuss is about," Jason replied, crossing his arms. "Is this really making a difference?" Isaiah considered Jason's words. "We're trying to show kids that kindness matters," he said carefully, "and that standing up against bullying is something everyone can do." Jason scoffed. "You think this changes anything?" "Kids are still going to be bullies." "Maybe," Isaiah conceded, "but that doesn't mean we should stop trying. Change takes time, and it starts with conversations. You can be part of that change too." The words seemed to hang in the air, and for a moment, Jason looked unsure. "I don't know," he muttered, shifting his weight. "It's easier to just go along with it." Isaiah stepped closer, his voice earnest. "But at what cost? You could be the reason someone feels safe or accepted. You have the power to change someone's life." Jason's expression softened, his bravado faltering as he absorbed Isaiah's words. "What if I don't know how?" He admitted quietly. "You start by being brave," Isaiah replied. "You can reach out, support others, and show that kindness is stronger than hate. It's never too late to change." Just then, Liam approached, his face lighting up as he spotted Jason. "Hey, we're playing games over there. You should join us," he exclaimed, innocence radiating from his smile. Isaiah watched as the tension in Jason's shoulders eased slightly. The boy hesitated, looking between Liam and Isaiah. For the first time, he seemed unsure of himself. "Come on, Jason," Liam urged, genuine excitement in his voice. "It'll be fun. We can show everyone how awesome it is to work together." Isaiah held his breath, hoping Jason would take the leap. After a moment of silence, Jason sighed, the walls around him crumbling. "Just a little." "Okay," he said, a hint of vulnerability breaking through. "I'll give it a shot." Isaiah felt a surge of hope as they headed toward the games together. It was a small step, but it was progress. Maybe, just maybe, Jason was ready to change. As the event continued into the evening, Isaiah reflected on the day's events. He had faced moments of doubt and uncertainty, but witnessing the shifts in the community filled him with renewed strength. He had turned his pain into purpose, and together with Liam and Robert, they were building a legacy of kindness and resilience. That night, as Isaiah returned home, he felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He was no longer just a man without a place. He was part of something bigger, a movement that transcended personal struggles. He was determined to continue fighting for change, and with each step forward, he felt himself growing stronger. As winter settled in, the chill in the air brought a sense of urgency. Isaiah found himself working tirelessly alongside Liam and Robert, planning for an upcoming awareness campaign aimed at educating both students and parents about the impact of bullying and the importance of empathy. The campaign was set to culminate in a community event where they would unveil a mural created by local artists, depicting stories of resilience and hope. Isaiah felt a deep sense of responsibility. This wasn't just about the charity. It was about changing the narrative surrounding bullying in their community. As the planning progressed, Isaiah continued to visit schools, engaging with students and encouraging them to participate in the campaign. During one visit, he noticed Sophie. Again, her spirit visibly lifted since the last time they had spoken. She approached him after the assembly, a bright smile on her face. "Isaiah, I shared your story with my friends, and now they want to join Stand Strong," she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "That's amazing, Sophie." "Your voice is powerful," Isaiah replied, pride swelling in his chest. "Together, you can spread kindness and support to even more people." Just then, a group of kids walked by, and Isaiah overheard them snickering as they made fun of another student, whispering cruel remarks. The laughter sent a pang of sadness through him, reminding him that change was still needed. "Hey, you guys!" Isaiah called out, his voice firm but calm. The group halted, confusion etched on their faces. "Do you really think it's funny to put someone down?" he asked. "It's time to be better than that." The kids exchanged glances, but before they could respond, Sophie stepped forward, emboldened by Isaiah's courage. "It's not cool to make fun of others. We should be kind, not cruel," she said. Isaiah felt a wave of hope wash over him as he watched Sophie stand up for what was right. The kids in the group fell silent, their bravado waning in the face of her conviction. "Let's be the change we want to see," Isaiah encouraged, looking at the onlookers. "Every small act of kindness can create a ripple effect. You can choose to uplift someone instead of tearing them down." After a moment, the kids muttered apologies and walked away, leaving Isaiah and Sophie standing together, pride swelling in their hearts. "Thank you for standing up for that kid," Isaiah sighed, giving Sophie a nod of approval. "You're a true leader." Sophie beamed, her confidence radiating. "I learned from you, Isaiah. You showed me how to be brave." As the weeks passed, the community event drew closer and excitement buzzed in the air. Isaiah and the team worked tirelessly, finalizing details for the mural and organizing activities for families. But just as everything seemed to be falling into place, Isaiah received an unexpected visit from Jason. The boy stood at his door, looking uncharacteristically serious. "Can I talk to you?" Jason asked, his voice lacking its usual bravado. "Of course, come in," Isaiah replied, motioning for him to enter. "What's on your mind?" Jason fidgeted with his hands, clearly conflicted. "I've been thinking a lot about what you said the other day, about being brave and changing." Isaiah nodded, encouraging him to continue. "I want to help." Jason admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. "I realize that I've been a bully, and I don't want to be that person anymore." Isaiah felt a surge of hope at Jason's honesty. "That's a brave admission, Jason. Change is never easy. But recognizing the need for it is the first step." "I want to be part of the mural," Jason said, determination shining in his eyes. "I want to help spread the message." Isaiah smiled, genuinely touched by Jason's willingness to change. "I think that would be a fantastic idea. The mural is all about hope and resilience, and your story can inspire others." As they began to work together, Isaiah witnessed a transformation in Jason. The boy who had once spread hurt was now actively participating in discussions about empathy and kindness. At the community event, the unveiling of the mural was a powerful moment. Families gathered eagerly in anticipation of the reveal. Isaiah stood alongside Liam, Robert, and Jason, their hearts pounding with excitement as the tarp covering the mural fell away. Gasps of awe echoed through the crowd. The mural depicted vibrant scenes of children supporting one another, with messages of kindness intertwined throughout. Each section told a story of triumph over adversity, highlighting the strength found in unity. Isaiah stepped forward, addressing the crowd. "Today, we celebrate not just art, but the power of change. This mural represents the hope that we can all make a difference, no matter our past. Every child deserves to feel safe and valued, and together we can create that reality." The crowd erupted in applause, and Isaiah felt the warmth of acceptance enveloping him. The moment was a testament to the hard work they had all put in. The resilience of the community, the courage of the children, and the power of empathy. As the event continued, families engaged in activities, sharing stories and laughter. Isaiah spotted Sophie, Liam, and Jason painting their own canvases, immersed in creativity. The joy in the air was palpable, and Isaiah realized that they weren't just building a charity, they were cultivating a movement. The changes they were instilling in the hearts of children would ripple through generations, shaping a kinder future. That evening, as the sun set behind the mural, casting a warm glow across the park, Isaiah felt a deep sense of fulfillment. Wash over him. He was no longer defined by his past, but had become a beacon of hope for others. The community had embraced him, and together, they were rewriting the narrative of resilience. As winter transitioned into spring, Isaiah's efforts with Stand Strong flourished. The mural had become a symbol of resilience, sparking conversations about bullying and kindness throughout the community. Schools invited him back for more workshops, and parents began engaging in the dialogue, eager to support their children in fostering empathy. One day, while preparing for a presentation at a nearby middle school, Isaiah received a phone call from Robert. "Isaiah, you won't believe this." Robert's voice was filled with excitement. "The mayor wants to recognize Stand Strong at the upcoming community awards. They want you to speak." Isaiah's heart raced. "The mayor? That's incredible. But I'm not sure I'm ready for that kind of spotlight." "You've been doing amazing work," Robert reassured him. "This is an opportunity to share your story with even more people and inspire change on a larger scale." Isaiah took a deep breath, realizing the significance of the moment. He had always been hesitant to step into the spotlight, fearing judgment and misunderstanding. But perhaps this was the chance to reach those who needed it most and show them that change was possible, no matter their circumstances. With Robert's encouragement, Isaiah agreed to speak at the award ceremony. Over the next few weeks, he poured his heart into preparing his speech, reflecting on his journey and the transformative power of community support. The night of the awards arrived, and Isaiah stood backstage, anxiety bubbling in his chest. He watched as other recipients received their accolades, feeling both inspired and intimidated. Finally, it was his turn to step into the spotlight. As he approached the microphone, the bright lights seemed to amplify his nerves, but as he looked out at the audience, familiar faces from the community, including Liam and Sophie, he felt a surge of strength. "Good evening, everyone," Isaiah began, his voice steady despite the pounding of his heart. "I stand before you not just as a recipient of this award, but as a testament to the incredible power of community and kindness." He shared his story, weaving in moments of vulnerability and triumph, emphasizing the importance of standing up against bullying and fostering empathy. He spoke passionately about the impact of Stand Strong and how each person had the ability to create change in their own lives and communities. Every child deserves to feel safe, valued, and supported. It starts with us, each of us taking a stand against hate and choosing to uplift one another, he declared, his voice echoing through the auditorium. As he spoke, he noticed Jason in the audience, nodding along with a thoughtful expression. It was a reminder that even those who had once been part of the problem could evolve and become part of the solution. When the applause erupted at the end of his speech, Isaiah felt a rush of gratitude. The recognition was overwhelming, but more importantly, it was a validation of the journey he had embarked on. After the ceremony, as he mingled with attendees, many expressed their admiration and support. It felt surreal to be embraced by a community that had once viewed him as an outsider. But amid the celebration, Isaiah's thoughts turned to the struggles that still existed. He wanted to ensure that the message of Stand Strong reached those who needed it most, the children still grappling with bullying, the ones who felt lost and alone. As he left the venue, Robert approached him with a grin. "You were incredible. You have a gift for connecting with people." "Thank you," Isaiah replied, still riding the high of the night. "But this is just the beginning. We need to keep pushing forward, reaching more kids and making a real impact." Days turned into weeks, and Isaiah dedicated himself to expanding the charity's initiatives. He reached out to other organizations and secured partnerships that allowed Stand Strong to extend its reach into neighboring communities. But just as everything seemed to be going well, Isaiah received an unexpected call from Sophie's mother, Mrs. Henderson. "Isaiah, can we meet? I need to talk to you about something important," she said, her voice tinged with urgency. Worried, Isaiah agreed to meet her at a local cafe. When he arrived, he found Mrs. Henderson sitting at a corner table, her expression serious. "Thank you for meeting with me," she began, her voice trembling slightly. "I've been hearing troubling things about Sophie's school. Some kids are still bullying her, and I'm worried she's not safe." Isaiah's heart sank. "I thought things were improving," he said, his voice filled with concern. "We've been working hard to create a supportive environment." "I know," Mrs. Henderson replied, her eyes glistening with tears. "But it seems like the message hasn't reached everyone. Sophie's been trying to stand up for herself, but the bullying has gotten worse." Isaiah felt a surge of determination. "We can't let this continue. I'll speak to the school and ensure they take action. No child should feel unsafe." With Mrs. Henderson's support, Isaiah arranged a meeting with the school principal, Mr. Thompson. He emphasized the urgency of the situation, insisting that immediate steps be taken to address the bullying. As they met, Isaiah spoke passionately about the importance of fostering a safe environment for all students. "We've made progress, but we need to ensure that every child feels supported and valued. We cannot ignore those who continue to suffer." Mr. Thompson nodded, clearly troubled by the situation. "I had no idea this was happening. We will implement new measures, and I will ensure that teachers are trained to recognize and address bullying effectively." Isaiah felt a wave of relief, but he knew action spoke louder than words. He vowed to keep a close eye on the situation, determined to support Sophie and others facing similar challenges. As the days unfolded, Isaiah found himself stepping back into the role of advocate. He reached out to families, sharing resources and encouraging them to report bullying incidents. The community rallied around Sophie, uniting to support her and others who felt marginalized. One afternoon, while working on plans for a new workshop focused on anti-bullying strategies, Isaiah received a message from Liam. "Isaiah, can you come to the park? I think we need to talk about Sophie," it read. Isaiah rushed to the park where he found Liam sitting on a bench, a concerned expression on his face. Sophie told me she's been feeling really down, he explained. I think she needs our help. Isaiah knelt down beside him, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. We'll do everything we can to support her. Let's plan a special event to lift her spirits. Together, they brainstormed ideas for an empowering gathering where the community could come together to celebrate kindness and resilience. They wanted to remind Sophie and all the kids that they were not alone in their struggles. The following weekend, they organized a kindness carnival at the park, inviting families to participate in activities that promote empathy and teamwork. As the day approached, excitement buzzed through the community, and Isaiah felt hopeful that this event would not only uplift Sophie, but also strengthen the message of Stand Strong. On the day of the carnival, the park was alive with laughter and energy. Families gathered for games, art projects, and storytelling sessions. The atmosphere was filled with joy as children ran around, their laughter ringing in the air. Isaiah took a moment to step back and observe the scene. It was beautiful to see the community come together, united by a shared purpose. As he scanned the crowd, he spotted Sophie, her face bright with a smile as she painted kindness rocks with Liam and other children. As the day progressed, Isaiah gathered everyone together for a brief speech. He spoke about the importance of kindness and resilience, reinforcing the message that each child had the power to make a difference. Today, we celebrate not just our strengths, but the courage to stand up for one another, he said, his voice resonating through the crowd. Every act of kindness creates a ripple effect, and together we can build a community where everyone feels safe and valued. The children cheered, and Isaiah felt a rush of pride as he watched Sophie beam with happiness. This was what it was all about, creating a legacy of love and support. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the park, Isaiah knew that they were making strides toward change. It was a journey filled with challenges, but with every step, they were rewriting the narrative surrounding bullying and racism. As the Kindness Carnival wrapped up, laughter and joy echoed through the park. Families began to pack up, smiles plastered on their faces as they reminisced about the day's events. Isaiah felt a deep sense of accomplishment, knowing they had made a positive impact. However, as he walked toward the parking lot, he noticed Jason lingering near the edge of the park, looking out of place amidst the festivities. A knot formed in Isaiah's stomach. He had hoped Jason was turning a corner, but uncertainty loomed. Hey, Jason, Isaiah called out, approaching him cautiously. How's it going? Jason shifted uncomfortably, avoiding eye contact. Not great, he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. I heard about the carnival, thought I'd come and see if things had changed. Things can change if you want them to, Isaiah replied, his tone encouraging. But you have to take that first step. Suddenly, a commotion erupted from behind them. Isaiah turned to see a group of children running toward them, panic written across their faces. Isaiah! Sophie's in trouble. One of them shouted breathlessly. Isaiah's heart raced. What happened? There's a group of older kids, bullies. They're picking on her. Without a second thought, Isaiah dashed toward the commotion, Jason following closely behind. The scene that greeted them was chaotic. Sophie stood her ground, but she was clearly outnumbered as the bullies taunted her, shoving her playfully but dangerously. Isaiah's heart sank. Hey, leave her alone, he shouted, stepping forward with authority. The bullies turned, surprised by Isaiah's sudden appearance. What are you going to do, old man? One of them sneered. Isaiah took a deep breath, channeling all the courage he had. I'm going to teach you that bullying doesn't make you tough. It makes you weak. To his surprise, Jason stepped forward, surprising even himself. Yeah, you're just a bunch of cowards. You think it's funny to pick on someone who's standing up for herself. The bullies exchanged incredulous looks, clearly caught off guard. What's this? The homeless guy and the loser are going to take us on? Isaiah smirked, his confidence rising. You might be surprised at what happens when people come together. In a moment of unexpected camaraderie, the other kids from the carnival rallied behind Isaiah and Jason, forming a united front. Yeah. Leave Sophie alone. They shouted in unison. Faced with overwhelming opposition, the bullies faltered. In a flash, they turned and fled, their bravado evaporating like mist in the morning sun. The crowd erupted in cheers, and Sophie's eyes sparkled with gratitude as she ran to Isaiah, wrapping her arms around him tightly. "Thank you, Isaiah. You really saved me." Isaiah chuckled, ruffling her hair. "You stood your ground, Sophie. You're a true warrior." As the adrenaline of the moment faded, Jason looked at Isaiah with newfound respect. I didn't think I could do that." "Thank you for believing in me," he admitted, a hint of vulnerability in his voice. "You took a step toward change today." "Jason," Isaiah said sincerely, "don't underestimate your power to make a difference." Just then, a familiar figure approached, Mr. Thompson, the school principal. "Isaiah, is everything all right?" he asked, concern evident in his tone. "Everything's fine now, Mr. Thompson," Isaiah replied, smiling. "Just a little lesson in standing up for one another." Mr. Thompson nodded, a look of admiration in his eyes. "I'm grateful for the work you've done in the schools. We need more leaders like you." As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with vibrant hues, Isaiah felt a surge of hope. The battle against bullying was ongoing, but today was a significant victory. Later that evening, Isaiah gathered with Liam, Sophie, Jason, and Robert around a bonfire in the park. They roasted marshmallows, sharing stories and laughter, the warmth of the flames reflecting the camaraderie they had built. "Remember the time you tried to impress the girl with your dance moves and fell flat on your face?" Liam teased Jason, causing everyone to burst into laughter. Jason feigned indignation. "That was a tactical maneuver. It was all part of my master plan." They all roared with laughter, the camaraderie binding them closer together. As the night deepened, Isaiah felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. The challenges they had faced had forged a community united by compassion and understanding. Each child had played a part in this journey, showing that change was possible when they stood together. Just then, a loud crack of thunder rolled across the sky, and the wind picked up, sending a chill through the air. The group huddled closer to the fire, laughter fading as they shared uneasy glances. "What was that?" Sophie asked, her eyes wide. "Just nature reminding us to stay on our toes," Isaiah replied, attempting to lighten the mood. "Or maybe it's the universe's way of saying, it's time for bed." Suddenly, a bright flash illuminated the sky, and a shadowy figure appeared on the other side of the park. The atmosphere shifted, and Isaiah felt an electric tension in the air. "Who's that?" Jason whispered, his voice barely audible. "Isaiah's." Instincts kicked in as he rose to his feet, his heart pounding. "Stay here, everyone," he instructed, moving cautiously toward the figure. As he approached, the figure stepped forward, revealing a familiar face. James, the mayor's assistant, grinning from ear to ear. "Isaiah, you won't believe it," James exclaimed. Breathlessly, "The mayor wants to meet with you again. He's impressed with the changes in the community and wants to help you expand Stand Strong further." Isaiah's jaw dropped in disbelief. "Really? This is incredible." "Absolutely. They want to partner with local businesses to fund programs, expand your reach, and help even more children. It's your chance to make a real impact." The joy and excitement that surged through Isaiah were overwhelming. The ripple effect of their hard work had reached the highest levels of the community, and they were being recognized for their efforts. As he turned back to the group, the excitement was palpable. "Guess what, everyone? We're taking Stand Strong to the next level." Cheers erupted from Liam, Sophie, and Jason, their laughter ringing through the park as the weight of uncertainty lifted. The journey ahead would still have challenges, but they were no longer alone. As the stars twinkled above them, Isaiah realized that hope had blossomed where despair once lived. Together, they were creating a legacy of kindness, empathy, and change. Isaiah looked at his friends, gratitude filling his heart. Thank you for believing in this journey with me. We're not just making a difference, we're changing lives starting with our own. With renewed determination, they gathered around the fire, laughter echoing in the night. And in that moment, Isaiah knew that they would continue to rise, standing strong against any challenge that lay ahead.